It's Saturday. The camera is not a mirror, but it looks like one when you are on this side of it. Sorry. I'm a little bedraggled tonight because I had grandkids today and we played and I had them, my rag rug, and I'm stripping the sheets. You just, tear them apart. So I had all four of them doing it. That went so fast. In no time, all my sheets were like ripped up and ready to go. So that was a good thing. All right. You guys are so observant. Somebody noticed that the J, they thought we broke up, I bet. The J is gone. Oh no, they broke up. No, it's just that I have textured walls and the tape's not very good. And how do you hammer? You can't hammer your, letter on. Oh, and look, it's crooked. So, there. We're back together again. Jamie and Angela. Okay, there. We didn't break up. All right. Now, there's a few things I'm going to tell you before I get started on what I'm doing. Tomorrow is Sunday, and we're doing the live podcast with my son, who is the school teacher, and I'm going to interview him. And I have my questions. I've been thinking all about what I'm going to ask him. Because, in my life, when I was young, I always wanted to be an interviewer. I don't know what it would have been called, interviewing people. And so my grandma always said, you just have so many questions. You need to grow up and, interview people for a living. So this will be my first chance at trying it. And he's, I hope he's ready, because I got some good questions for him that we all need to want to know about teachers and, how the kids are. All right, so that's going to be live, 2 o'clock Mountain Time, Wyoming time. Okay. And then I got comments about this can opener thing, because I said the ad was stupid because it said keep the bugs out. They say that this twists around and then blocks stuff from getting in. They didn't show that on there. I don't know if they had a video. But I had my husband get, I told you I was going to hammer a hole in it or have him drill a hole. Burn a hole. He drilled a hole. I didn't even think of that. All right, so remember, you put it like this and you pop it. And then you turn it. Oh, see? Somebody from England and this other lady, 2 people, they were so smart to know that. You must have made in there. Look, a door for your, that is so cute. A door for your drink. I don't usually drink it out of the can though, because I pour it in one of these. So, but now I know. So then I really will lose it. If you, like you're camping and you have your drink there with this thing on it, keeping the wasps and the bugs out. But then you leave, and you leave your can there because you think it's gone, and then you're going to lose your little twisty lid. No wonder they're cheap. You got to order a lot of them. But I'm still going to leave it on my string because, like I say, I don't drink out of that. All right, and then so many people, I feel so bad because they'll say all their friends died, and they don't have any friends. They only have a child, but they're busy, and and so I just want to tell all those people, you just keep watching me and we will be friends. We have a Julie Fitzpatrick. You just keep watching me because we will be friends, video friends. They used to have pen pals. Remember when you had pen pals? Now we're video friends. All right. Now, the other thing is curling iron, that big fat curling iron. I already boxed it up and everything, and I got my money back from it because I wanted to send it back, but they said I didn't have to send it back. But I'm just going to give it away because I didn't like it one bit. And I'm going to tell you the truth because I know I don't want you to feel sorry for me, but out in my RV, I have a really nice curling wand that's perfect. And I was just too lazy to go out and get it because my husband parked it so close to the sides of the carport and the trailer, and it's all three, everything's parked in there so close that I have to like cinch you in beside to open the door. It's just a slide door to get in to get my curling wand. Did you need this? Is he here? Oh. My son went out of town to the big city today, and my husband needed some algae eater fish. And so he had them, and so I had to give him the money to pay the son for the fish. And that's why I said, is he here yet? No, he's not here, but he wanted to be ready with them $10 to give to my son for the platypus, I don't know what they're called, and the catfish eaters and all of that, because I don't think it helps, but it's not my hobby. My husband, I don't know which one of us have more hobbies. My husband's hobbies, gardening, fish, ponds, physics. What else are his hobbies? He has so many of them. And then my hobbies, and you know, do we share any hobbies? I don't know. The treehouse, maybe? I don't know. We get along. It's okay. All right. Now, the other thing, I've been watching other people on YouTube, and their subscribers are getting deleted, or, you know, they say they subscribed and then they look and they aren't subscribed. So you have to always check to make sure that you're still subscribed. And you have to get a thumbs up because they said that YouTube thinks that everybody is a bot. I don't know what a bot is. Does it mean, I always get it wrong. Like maybe somebody bought subscribers. That's probably not it. A bot is a fake person playing on the computer and messing with us. I don't know what it is. I'd have to ask Alexa. But in the meantime, we're not going to let that happen because we are all real people and we can put likes if we want and we can subscribe who we want. And how dare YouTube unsubscribe us when we subscribed? That is not fair. So keep subscribing and liking to prove that you're not a bot. Whatever a bot is. I'm going to look it up. You don't have to tell me. I'm going to do research on that later when I'm not tired and I'm bored and I don't have anything else to do. I'll look it up. Or I could ask the school teacher tomorrow. What's a bot? Maybe he knows. All right. When I married my husband, this is going to be another story. When I married my husband, he's from Wyoming. And, you know, he was a real man with guns and camouflage clothes and trophies on the wall and a pickup. Well, I never was used to that kind of man before, so it was a whole new way of life for me. What? Hunting? So, yes, he went hunting every year, and he got an elk or a moose or a deer, and then that's how they ate all winter. They put the meat in the freezer. And so when I married him, he goes, are you going to go hunting with me? And of course, newlywed, of course I said, yes, I am. So we are planning the hunting trip. That's September and October, you know, it's hunting season. So I start buying fabric and make these designer hunting clothes because I hate a backpack digging into your shoulders. I already have stuff digging into my shoulders. I don't want a backpack too. So I made this shirt and I'm so mad. I can't find it because I wanted to show you guys. But I made a pouch pocket right here. I made pockets here. I made a pocket in the back and, you know, everywhere, pockets. So I wouldn't have to carry a backpack. And it worked out really well, and I made matching pants, and then I made my husband, I do have that, and I am going to do a fashion show of my hunting clothes I made and designed, and it was a reversible coat, one side camouflage, and then you reversed it to the waterproof coat inside the hood, and he had the camouflage pants, and we had the orange hats. So anyway, here's a picture of us. Okay, see, and this is when we were going hunting. Let's see what year that was. 96, 1996. All right. And of course, back then we had to have a tent camping. We didn't have an RV. And then, so I'm excited and ready to go. Well, when we came back, everybody wanted to hear the hunting story. And so I wrote one. And when I wrote it, everybody said, oh, you should send it into that magazine. Because I guess there's a magazine that has hunting stuff on it. I don't really know, because I'm not a hunter. And no, I never did shoot one. But I do have some hunting stories. Like one time, I'll tell the hunting story before. This was a different year. This was my first year I went. But the second year I went, we had to hike up this place, his favorite place to hunt. And so we hiked up there. And then we sleep under this big tree. And so we spread out the sleeping bag. And, I'm a pro now because this is my second year. And so, we're sleeping there. Well, the next morning, he's getting ready to go out. We just sit there and the elk comes to us because all the other hunters around are chasing them and the elk are running, scurrying, and they go through this elk jungle and they go right to where we were at. Anyway, my husband said that. So we waited, and we hear shots because it's opening day and we're looking and nothing's happening, but you can't talk, you have to be quiet and everything. Well, then he just has to go to the bathroom. So he gets up and goes around up the little trail around the tree, and I guess is doing his business up there. I don't know what. I didn't go. I stayed. I was sitting there, and my socks were wet. So I put my mittens on my feet because my feet were freezing, and I'm just sitting there reading my book. Well, all of a sudden, there's this rock slide that we slept. It was right behind us. Well, all of a sudden, I heard, it sounded like an avalanche of those rocks sliding down. I'm like, what the heck? So I jumped up and went over to look. It was a herd of elk came running down those rock slides because the elk jungle's over here, so they want to get into the elk jungle. Well, I'm just like, and here I could see big antlers and everything. I didn't know. He never told me to count them. So I'm just flabbergasted, and I'm trying to call for him, Jamie, but not make noise, Jamie. So I'm yelling like that, and then I pick up the gun. He left his gun, but he never showed me how to shoot it. So I'm pointing it, and I always just know in the cowboy shows they click that thing, a shotgun, It's a 30-06, but I clicked it, and then something fell out, and anyway, I didn't know how to shoot the gun, but they were so close, just, I could have thrown a rock at him and killed him. It was that close. So then as soon as the last one went into the jungle, and they just stood looking at me like, oh, who are you? And I'm standing and looking at them, and I didn't even have a camera. Anyway, the elk went into the jungle and they're gone. And then here Jamie comes tootling back. Jamie, where were you? I was calling for you. He goes, over there, I said, a whole herd of elk just came through here. He goes, no, they didn't. Yes, they did. A whole herd with antlers and everything. So he doesn't believe me. So he goes over there and he looks, and sure enough, he sees the footprints, and he could tell by the footprints how big they were. Big mistake. So teach your partner how to shoot the gun. I could have shot it. Well, I didn't have a license, but, Anyway, that was the closest I ever got to shooting one, but I didn't do it. All right, so I'm going to read it. I'm sorry, I was just reading ahead because I don't think all of this is the story. So I have to know where to stop. Anyway, sorry, I'm going to read it because this I wrote right after it happened, and my memory isn't too good. And I wrote it to my mom and dad. Dear Mom and Dad, I know everyone is anxious to hear how our big elk hunting trip went. so I'm telling the story once and sending it to everyone. We left about 2 p.m. on the day before opening season. We would have left sooner that day, but Clint got a new gun, so we had to go down and sight it in. Of course, I was a lot of help with that part. I think I fell asleep. We were finally all loaded up and on our way, anticipating the best. When we arrived at the base camp, we set Clint busy setting up the tents while we got our things ready for the hike up the mountain. Jamie and I had planned all year that we would spend the night up on the top of the mountain, Dead Man, that's what it was called, so we would already be there the first thing opening season. Now remember, I had been getting ready for this by sewing our designer tree camo outfits. These were invented by me, who has the experience of 1 year hunting. But I thought of everything. I made more zip-up pockets in these outfits so we wouldn't have to carry a thing, except for a double sleeping bag, gun, and extra heavy coats. The weather was predicting snow. As we started putting on our designer outfits, the fashion show began. All the hunters in the camp started to gather around us, commenting on our wonderful matching designer tree outfits with so many zip pockets. With my pride taking all the compliments with the utmost modesty, we were soon off. We were given a ride at the bottom of the mountain. I thought Jamie was kidding when he told me it was this mountain we were to get to the top of and then just drop down to the other side. I soon learned he was not joking, nor was this going to be a quick, easy trek. With determination and not to seem like a 41-and-a-half-year-old, out-of-shape woman, I laughingly followed my tight-muscled, skinny hunter husband. The poor thing carrying that huge double sleeping bag, all our lightweight food, which consisted of my 3 Pepsis, and of course the gun. I did feel a little guilty of him carrying more than me until the second little turn straight up the hill, 20 feet. I had to rest. He went on saying there was a better resting place up ahead, but I wasn't stupid. I knew it was his tactic to get me to go farther. And anyway, I didn't care where I rested as long as I sat down and stopped. As I sat down, and stopped. As we kept going and resting, it started to get dark. Jamie was getting a little worried, but I couldn't go faster because by now I felt like my lungs were going to burst. We went on, and he said we were almost ready for the cutoff to the rock slide, halfway. I decided where we wouldn't be too bad a place to roll out the huge sleeping bag and just sleep right there. After all, we had everything with us we needed. We could sleep anywhere. But Jamie remembered our year-long goal, plus his secret place. At this point, I realized these designer outfits weren't so important. After all, no one was up there to see us. I think I should have prepared in a little different way, like maybe walking. I then discovered I had lost my hat, my orange hat. I said, "Who cares?" But my hunter husband said, "No, you have to have it." So now I knew why they called this mountain Dead Man. So he dropped everything and went down the mountain after the orange hat. Boy, the guilt I felt, but also the admiration of those legs and lungs of his. No wonder he has such a tight behind. He ran off to get my hat. I didn't mind the rest until he told me to just keep on going and he'd catch up with me. I had no doubt he would. By this time it was dark. The trees were black. We could only see the outline of the skyline. But Jamie said he knew exactly where we were and where we were going, and I trusted him. At this point, I got out the flashlight. We then hit the rock slide. By then, we were going downhill, so it wasn't so bad on my lungs as it was on my ankles. Imagine crossing big rocks in the dark with weak ankles and holding a big flashlight. But there is the great white hunter in front of me, trudging on without a light, carrying the load, and knowing exactly where we were. I began to doubt, and knew we should have stayed the night back where my lungs about burst. But he gave me no choice. I had to keep following because I sure as heck did not want to spend the night on that rock slide. When I thought I could take no more, I realized Jamie was no longer in front of me. I didn't want to appear a frightened old lady, so I just kept going down the steep rocks, and I finally heard, "I'm here at our tree." What a happy, rejoicing moment. I hoped he was spreading out that huge sleeping bag so I could die when I got there. I finally decided to just sit down on my bottom and go down the rocks on my bottom because my ankles hurt so bad. But when I finally climbed over the giant fallen tree, he was building a fire. Then he wanted to eat the fried chicken I had made for the hike. I wanted to throw up and sleep. As we were finally on our huge sleeping bag, all curled up, looking up at the night stars, I was glad the hardest part of this hunt was over, or so I thought. It was a very long night. My nose kept getting cold, and if I could just remove that one arm underneath me and set it aside till morning. Morning finally came. We had decided not to build a fire because we didn't want the elk to know we were there. We were eating our leftover frozen chicken, still laying in our sleeping bag, when Jamie's ears sprang up, and this look on his face of urgency. He said, "There they are." I couldn't even move due to the fact I was holding my chicken with my blanket around my neck. He shot, and I heard dried leaves crunching, then another shot as I saw an elk roll down the steep climb I now knew so well from the previous night. The falling elk did not look as big as I thought they were supposed to be. But I figured, what do I know? The other one was wounded and took off, Jamie said. But Jamie knew he had to follow it. I knew I wouldn't. So he left as I waited and watched the dead one. It was indeed dead. He finally returned empty. The elk is probably almost dead, and another hunter will shoot it and think they downed it easy. Oh well. Then came the part I had been waiting for, the gutting. My sister Shauna would have loved it because she's a nurse, so I knew she would love to watch that. It had the biggest guts of any I had ever seen, which is none. It was so cool. Jamie gutted that thing in about one slice down the center. The windpipe looked like my vacuum cleaner tube. With the meat all laid out, we waded back on our huge sleeping bag to await the next elk herd. I read my book that Jamie had also hauled up there for me and listened to my Sony tunes while I fell in and out of sleep. It was wonderful, blissful, relaxing time, except for the noise of the jets overhead and the distant sound of gunshots, which wouldn't be so bad except for the twinges of jealousy just knowing someone is out there shooting a 6-point bull. Time went on when something caught my eye. 2 hunters down below with a horse. As we watched them approaching, we realized it was Jamie's 2 sons. My thought was, gosh, we can't seem to ever get away from these kids. They find us anywhere we go. They wanted to leave the horse with us because they thought they'd have a better chance without her, plus they wanted to go into the elk jungle. What could we say? They left, and I once again began to settle into a nap. I was looking forward to staying another night up there. Not that it was such wonderful sleeping, but I hadn't quite recovered from the hike the night before. Jamie kept looking up at the sky and said he thought we had better get out of there because it was going to storm. I said, "Oh, I don't think so." But I obeyed like a dutiful wife. We got our stuff ready, and this time I had to carry the huge sleeping bag. At least we ate most of the food, and the Pepsis were gone. But I figured since it was all downhill, why carry that huge sleeping bag? I threw that sucker all the way down the canyon, and it worked perfect. I just thought I'll repair the holes before we go out next time. Jamie was dragging the elk to the horse. I thought we would put the elk on the horse and take it back. But Jamie, in all his wisdom, said, "No, I think you should ride, and I'll come back for the elk later." I said no once, but then decided it might be a good idea. Now, you must realize I have ridden this horse 2 times since I had been here, and that was once around the pasture. She is big and a little scary to me, but I didn't want my husband to know my fear. But since Heavenly Father knew my fear, I decided to pray and plead for my safety. And I continued to pray minute by minute. I also decided this horse needed to know how happy I was with her carrying me. So after I apologized for my weight gain, I continued to praise and pet her. I don't know if it is scarier going down a hill into the water on a horse or up the hill as she jumps across the stream. And then we had to cross the rock slide. I think she hated crossing the rocks as much as I did. But I made it back. Luckily, people were in the camp to grab the horse when I jumped off of her. But I praised her for the good ride and gave her carrots. And she loves me now. I feel like her grandma too. I was finished with my hunt. I felt like home now. But Jamie informed me that the hunt was not over. They always stay 3 nights. Oh, goody. Next year, we may take 2 cars. That night was cozy in our tent. We were warm until I heard the noise like chewing outside the tent. Jamie hit the tent violently and then said, "It was probably just a skunk." Oh, great. Go ahead and scare a skunk. When we opened the tent the next morning, snow. My husband was right. Good thing we weren't on top of that mountain. He and Clint took off to get the abandoned elk meat. I had another book to read. Clint returned sad without an elk. Jamie was sad for the one that got away and for the small one he got. Yes, it was just a calf. I say, some is better than none. And what about our designer tree camouflage outfits? Next year, I think I'll make a few changes and walk instead of sew. So, I learned a lot that year. It's better to be in shape and get, for all the hiking you're going to have to do than what you're going to wear. Here's a picture of the elk calf that he shot. Now, you could shoot the calves, I guess. He obeys the laws of the hunting. He would never do anything wrong. But when that elk went rolling down the mountain, I thought, this doesn't look very big, and that's true. It was just a calf. But then his oldest son, the one who doesn't like me, he shot a, horned elk. I don't remember how many horns, but antlers. I guess they're antlers. I didn't learn everything. Anyway, he shot a big one, and he's bragging to Jamie, I got the biggest one and all this stuff. But guess what was the better eating? This calf was the best eating elk, not the big pointed one. All right, that's my elk story for you tonight. Remember to watch tomorrow. If you missed the live, you can, it will record and you can watch it after the live of my son and I. And we'll see how it goes. And if everybody likes it, we'll do more of them. And my husband's so good. Look what he brought me 2 nights in a row. It's not elk meat, chicken. Thank you. Which he is going to demonstrate his chicken cooking sometime. But he doesn't want to be on camera. So I might just have to keep the camera below and not film his face. Is he camera shy? Well, you've already seen a picture of him, right? Here's the picture of him. He looks a little different nowadays, though. You can't even see what he looks like here. Okay, that's it. Goodbye.